Hours before fall. My grandfather took me out to the wall. For a while he stood silent, then he finally said, with a very sad shake of his very old head, "As you know, on this side of the wall we are Ukes, and on the far other side of this wall live the Zooks." Then grandfather said, "It's high time you knew of the terrible, horrible things that Zooks do. In every Zook house, in every Zook town, every Zook eats his bread with the butter side down." "But we Ukes, as you know, when we breakfast or sup, spread our bread," Grandpa said, "with the butter side up." "That's the right honest way," Grandpa gritted his teeth, "so you can't trust a Zook who spreads bread underneath. Every Zook must be watched. He has kinks in his soul. That's why as a youth I made watching my goal. Watching the Zooks for the Zook Watching Border Patrol." In those days, of course, the wall wasn't so high, and I could look any Zook square in the eye. And if he dared come too close, I could give him a twitch with my tough-tufted, prickly snakeberry switch. For a while that worked fine. All the Zooks stayed away, and our country was safe. Then one terrible day, a very rude Zook by the name of Van Itch snuck up and slingshotted my snakeberry switch. With my broken-off switch, with my head hung in shame, to Chief Ukaroo in great sorrow I came. But our leader just smiled. He said, "You're not to blame, and the Zooks will be sorry they started this game. We'll dress you right up in a fancier suit. We'll give you a fancier slingshot to shoot." And he ordered the boys in the back room to figure how to build me some sort of triple sling jigger. With my triple sling jigger, I sure felt much bigger. I marched to the wall with great brim and great vigor, right up to Van Itch with my hand on the trigger. "I'll have no more nonsense," I said with a frown, "from Zooks who eat bread with the butter side down." Van Itch looked quite sickly. He ran off quite quickly. I'm unhappy to say he came back the next day in a spiffy new suit with a big new machine, and he snarled as he said, looking frightfully mean, "You may fling those hard rocks with your triple sling jigger, but I also now have my hand on the trigger. My wonderful weapon, the jigger rock snatch 'em, we'll fling 'em right back just as quick as we catch 'em. We'll have no more nonsense, we'll take no more gup from you Ukes who eat bread with the butter side up." "I have failed, sir," I sobbed as I made my report to the Chief Ukaroo in the headquarters fort. He just laughed. "You did nothing at all of the sort. Our slingshots have failed. That was old-fashioned stuff. Slingshots, dear boy, are not modern enough. All we need now is some newfangled kind of gun. My boys in the back room have already begun. That's right. To think up a walloping whizzinger one. My bright boys are thinking. They're on the right track. They'll think up one quick, and we'll send you right back." They thought up a great one. They certainly did. They thought up a gun called the Kickapoo Kid, which they loaded with powerful poodoo powder, and ants' legs and bees' legs, and dried fried clam chowder. And they carefully trained a real smart dog named Daniel to serve as our country's first gun-toting spaniel. Then Daniel, the Kickapoo Spaniel, and I marched back toward the wall with our heads held up high, while everyone cheered and their cheers filled the sky. "Fight! Fight for the butter side up! Do or die!" Well, we didn't do, and we didn't quite die, but we sure did get worsted, poor Daniel and I. Van Itch was there too, and he said, the old pig, "The boys in my back room invented this rig, called the 8-nozzled elephant-toted boom blitz. It shoots high-explosive Surrey Chower stone pits, and will put your dumb Kickapoo Kid on the fritz." Poor Daniel and I were scared out of our wits. Once born by Van Itch, I was bested and beat. Once again I limped home from the wall in defeat. I dragged and I sagged, and my spirits were low as I thought that they ever could go, when I heard a boom-bah and a diddle-dee-dill, and our butter-up band marched up over the hill. The Chief Ukaroo had sent them to meet me, along with the right-side-up song girls to greet me. They sang, "Oh, be faithful, believe in thy butter," and they lifted my spirits right out of the gutter. My boy smiled Chief Yukaru. We've just voted, and you've made general. You've been promoted. Your pretty uniform is ready. Get in it. The big war is coming. You're going to begin it. And what's more, this time, you are certain to win it. My boys in the back room have finally found how. Just wait till you see what they puttered up now. In their great new machine, you'll fly over that wall and clobber those buttered-down Zooks one and all. The boys in the back room sure knew how to putter. They made me a thing called an utterly sputter, and I jumped aboard with my heart all aflutter and steered toward the land of upside-down butter. The machine was so modern, so frightfully new. No one knew quite exactly just what it could do, but it had several faucets that sprinkled blue goo, which somehow would sprinkle the Zooks as I flew and gallop that upside-down butter they chew. I was racing pell-mell when I heard a voice yell, "If you sprinkle us Zooks, you'll get sprinkled as well." Van Itch had a sputter exactly like mine, and he yelled, "My blue gooer is working just fine." And I'm here to say that if Ukes can goo Zooks, you better forget it, 'cause Zooks can goo Ukes. I flew right back home, and as you might have guessed, I was downright despondent, disturbed, and depressed. And I saw it. Just as soon as I stepped back on land, so were all the girls of the Butter-Up Band. The chief drum majorette, Miss Yuki Ann Sue, said, "That was a pretty sour flight that you flew, and the Chief Yukaru has been looking for you." I raced to the office. The place was a sight. "Have no fear," said the chief. "Everything is all right. My bright boys have been brighter than bright. They've thought up a gadget that's newer than new. It's filled with the mysterious Moo-Lack-A-Moo and can blow all those Zooks clear to Salamagoo. They've invented the Bitsy Big Boy Boomaroo. You just run to that wall like a nice little man, drop this bomb on the Zooks just as fast as you can. I've ordered all the Ukes to stay safe underground while the Bitsy Big Boy Boomaroo is around." As I raced for that wall with the bomb in my hand, I noticed that every last Uke in our land was obeying our Chief Yukaru's grim command. They are all bravely marching with batters aflutter down a hole for their country and bright side up butter. That's when Grandfather found me. He grabbed me, he said, "You should be down that hole, and you're up here instead. But perhaps this is for the better. Somehow, you'll see me make history. Right here, right now." Grandpa leapt up that wall with a lawfulest leap, and he cleared his hoarse throat with a boppleless beep. He screamed, "Here's the end of that terrible town, full of Zooks who eat bread with the butter side down." And at that very instant, we heard a clup clup of feet on the wall, and all Van Itch clucked up. The boys in his back room had made him one too. In his fist was another Big Boy Boomaroo. "I'll blow you," he yelled, "into pork and wheat beans. I'll butter side up you to small smithereens." "Grandpa," I shouted, "be careful, oh gee. Who's going to drop it? Will you or will he?" "Be patient," said Grandpa. "We'll see. We'll see." The end.